All right, thanks for coming out, everybody. My presentation's how vMug shaped my career. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ben Clayton. I'm the past president of the vMug board of directors. And I'm going to have problems with my clicker already. There we go. Anyways, so again, about me, I'm currently the director of DevOps for a place called Company Kitchen. I'm the past president of vMug. And to give you a little history about me and how I got started, I ended up getting a degree from the University of Kansas. I had average grades, nothing special. I was an active BBSer back in the days, and up until I graduated, the highlight of my computing career was in second grade. We had a Commodore PET, and we had a lemonade stand program that was supposed to teach us about math. I knew enough about computers to hack into the code and list it out and see that during the time that you sold lemonade, if there was anything over $1, you had a 1% chance of selling lemonade for that segment. So I just took that line out and didn't got rid of the limit and priced my lemonade at $1 million a glass. At the end of the summer, I had sold $3 million worth of lemonade and beat the second place kid by about $2,999,000. And so I peaked in second grade and then went on to an exciting degree in psychology. After graduating, about 3 years after that, I realized I was not going to make any money in a degree in psychology, and I kind of went back to my passion with computers. Unfortunately, I didn't really have any credentials, just a really big desire to get back into computers. There was a career fair going on at Gateway 2000. I had sent them 2 resumes, and each time they just ignored me with a thanks for playing email. I finally went down one day and said, listen, I'm not going to leave until you give me a job. I can do it. I just don't have the proof. So if you give me a chance, I'll do my best. And I finally found a manager that said, all right, we've got a wonderful shift for you. It's Saturday through Tuesday, 6 in the morning until 3, and it's only handling escalations from angry customers. So it was pretty much the worst job in computers ever, but it got my foot in the door. And then, I worked at Gateway for about 8 years, and then finally, they closed down. I did 2 years of random IT jobs, wireless, Windows Phone support. Then in late 2006, I was hired as an Active Directory and phone guy for a manufacturing company. It was a decent enough job, but not really something that I'd base a career on. At the time I got hired, it was at the start of December, and it's at a time when people are just getting rid of their vacation time. And my boss said, hey, thanks for hiring on. I'm leaving for 3 weeks, so figure out something to do. And he pretty much just left me with a directory that said, or stalled in uncompleted projects. And one of the folders said virtualization. And I'd heard a little bit about VMware, just enough to kind of, pique my curiosity, but I'd never really done anything with VMware. So I was like, all right, I'm going to try this. So I read up on it, thought it was amazing. And by the time they came back, I'd done a successful POC where I P2V'd my laptop and was demonstrating vMotion to the group. And it was enough to where they said, all right, let's go with this, let's try to virtualize things. And by the end of the year, I was the 80 Active Directory guy, phone guy, and virtualization guy. But the problem I was having is I didn't know where to get support. We were a very small company. We were not big enough that we were making, we were even on VMware's radar. Nobody on my team had any experience. Obviously, everyone that left that was working on the project was the reason this was in the uncompleted projects. And none of my friends were using VMware. But at the time, VMware, or Irish Spring, who was my account rep, he said that there was a user group, and that Kansas City was one of the oldest continuously running groups for the VMware user group, and I should take a look. And so I wanted to network with people that were having similar situations and ask questions with. So I went to a meeting, and I found that it was a great help. People were having the same problems that I was. I think at the time we were trying to figure out 3.1, so we were all learning that together. And it was great. And then the second meeting came along, and the leader said, "Hey, I'm stepping down. I got promoted. I can't do this." And I'd already realized how important the vMug was. Even at the time, it wasn't called vMug, but I wanted to keep it going. And so when he asked if there was anyone that would take it over, I said, "Sure, I'll do what I can." Luckily, when I took it over, we were already having meetings around 30 people. There was a really strong leadership team already in place. There was a sponsor leader, an event leader, a communication leader. And so all I really had to do was just kind of handle all the BS work and do all the jobs that nobody else wanted to do. So I was fine with that. And then we started doing quarterly meetings, and we kept on growing and growing. And then at the start of 2009, one of the leaders approached me and said, "Hey, I've heard of these all-day events that people in New England are doing. They're really successful. We should try it. Let's give it a shot." And so, in true leader fashion, I said, "Yeah, as long as you want to do all the work, and I'll take all the credit for it. Let's give it a shot." And so, to his credit, he went ahead and ran with it, and we had the first Midwest UserCon. And as you can see, we had people from Omaha, Kansas City, and to prove how long ago that was, you can tell I was a lot younger back then. And my favorite is the VMware user group sign. That was our first unofficial logo. Anyway, so we did that, and it was actually a really big success. I can't remember exactly how many people we had at the user group meeting, but Cerner donated the event space. We had a ton of sponsors, and we were trying to manage it to a net zero financial because none of us wanted to mess with the money. So I think we ended up giving away about $40,000 or $50,000 worth of prizes at the end because we just had a bunch of excess money. And actually, it was a problem for the early days of vMug because we were at every event going, "Well, we usually give around $50,000 in prizes. Do you have a problem with that?" And then HQ would say, "Yes, yeah, we have a huge problem with that." So anyways, after that, it kind of got on the radar of VMware that we were doing kind of big things in Kansas City. And I didn't know it at the time, but VMware had been talking about spinning off vMug into an independent organization. And so I got an email asking, "Hey Ben, we're thinking about starting this independent organization. Do you want to fly up to Chicago and have a steak at Morton's?" And I had no idea what I was getting into, but obviously, from the looks of me, I don't pass up many free steaks. And it was a great opportunity just to get out there and meet some people. And I said, "Sure, I have no idea what I'm doing, but yeah." And so at the time, I didn't know it, but there was a group of 12 of us that were becoming the advisory board that was looking into starting the vMug. And again, I had no idea at the time. I just saw an opportunity. I said, "What the heck?" So after that meeting, vMug became a thing. So the initial mission statement of VMware is the VMware user group is an independent global customer-led organization which maximizes member use of VMware and partner solutions through knowledge sharing, training, collaboration, and events. And at the time, I had no idea what that really meant. I knew it was kind of cool, mostly because if you look at the list of people there's some amazing people on this list here with me. Mariano Maloof, obviously, ran the organization for a long time and just, an awesome guy. We had people from all over the world. There's a guy named Virgil who was just an amazing guy from Australia and just a pleasure to deal with. And all around good guys, good women. Jody Sheely, obviously, is big time VMware now. And at the time, we were just all a bunch of people meeting in a boardroom at the bottom of Morton's, having no idea what was going to happen. So ended up doing vMug for a long time, 8 years. Mariano finally stepped down. We needed a new president, and I ended up getting voted president. It was one of the coolest things that I've dealt with in my professional career. And then after that, I announced the Dell Technologies user community and vMug's association. What? It's awesome. It's awesome. For those of you that don't know, Steve Athanas, third president of vMug. And with that came one of the more interesting parts of my career. For those of you that don't know, at the time I announced the Dell Technologies user community, it had some, I don't know what the best way to describe it. Not everybody at vMug was thrilled. And it was a unique opportunity for me to lead an organization through some challenges. The reason I had some, I went back and forth on whether I should put this slide in. But for me, I mean, it really was an amazing part of my career because there's nothing in the world that can really, you can go to classes on leadership, you can, read books, but until you have like 150,000 people around the world mad at you, you really can't prepare yourself for that. And it was a really interesting experience, and I tried to see the best in everything, and I think it was an amazing development opportunity, and I learned a ton from it. And at the time, this was my look, I made it. I was like, oh my God, I'm on the front page of the Register. I'm like, it might be because everybody's mad at me, but still, I'm on the Register. This is so cool. And again, it was one of the highlights of my career, even though it was a questionable reason why I was there. And if you see that, it was the first time I was ever asked to present at a vBrownBag, and it took me 3 years for them to ask me back. So, but I'm glad they did. But seriously, after that, one of the big things was that we realized that it was a problem with communication, for just organizational issue with communication. I know a lot of you experienced that. The frustration was just kind of with the way that the group was communicating with the leaders, and the thing is in 10 years we grew from 10,000 people to 150,000 leaders worldwide, and this is from a board of directors that really didn't have a lot of experience doing this, as it was volunteer work for all of us. So there's really no playbook on how to grow that size and not screw something up. So there were obviously some challenges. I like this slide just because at the time when I first started computing, I had no idea that I'd end up taking selfies with Pat, and I don't know what this picture was, but it looks like I'm doing something important, so I just put it in. I think we were trying to figure out what the menu was for one of the Leader Summit events, but yeah, and now vMug's 150,000, growing strong. It's an amazing group. As you can see, Steve took the opportunity to jump up front and center because that's the kind of leader he is. And so, anyways, but throughout this whole time, obviously the time I spent at vMug, I was able to go from a leader to a board of directors and ultimately president. And at the same time, I ended up going from gateway tech support frontline to Active Directory and phone guy. Then once I took over virtualization, my career kind of started taking off. I ended up getting into cloud management roles, and a lot of that was really because I had a great leadership team on the Kansas City leadership group, and I'd pick people that said that we're going to stay at these customer jobs, and then I'm like, all right, we need a customer leader, and ultimately I'm going to leave and go do this board of director stuff. So I need you to promise that you're going to stay and be a customer leader. And they'd say, yeah, I promise. I got a great job. And I said, okay, you promise. And they said, yeah. I'm like, all right, you're going to be the new leader at Kansas City vMug. And to a person, every time I did that, within a month or two, they'd get hired by VMware or a partner, and I'd be back leading Kansas City vMug. And but the good part about it was they always left great jobs to go pursue the next step, and they would end up handing the jobs off to me. And so I was able to get better jobs and promote through my career just from the connections I knew from the Kansas City vMug. And I was thinking about this the other day. Actually, one of the best jobs I ever had was about 6 years ago. I was at VMworld. One of the leaders that had promised that he had the best job ever, and he wasn't going to go anywhere. And so I was like, all right, this is yours. Kansas City's yours. And he's like, all right, great. And so we were at a party here at VMworld, and he said, hey, Ben, I've got some news. I'm leaving. I was like, of course you are. But I stopped, and I was like, I thought the job really was a great job. I was like, is your boss here? And he's like, yeah, my boss, he's in the, community or downstairs somewhere. Actually, I think it was actually right in this hallway. And so I said, all right, well, let him know that I'm going to meet with him tomorrow morning. And I walked up and I said, listen, I know you just lost a great virtualization expert. It's hard to find people these days. So I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to make this easy for you. I'll take his job and I can start, 2 weeks from now. And strangely enough, he bought it. He said, all right. So I was able to, get really the best job I ever had just through my connections with vMug. And it was great. It was wonderful. And then that job lasted for about 5 years. We got taken over by a larger corporation. We had some obviously management restructuring, and then at the time I found out that I was getting laid off. So normally there's obviously the panic mode. You don't know what you're going to do, and that felt kind of paralyzed me. I was like, how am I going to pay for my family? How am I going to do this? And then I had the idea, I'm just going to send out a tweet. So the tweet's pretty simple. It says, they say when one door closes, another opens. I was unfortunately part of my company's downsizing today and will be looking for that next great opportunity. If you have a door I should walk through, let me know. I sent that out, kind of, took a hit to my pride, having to, admit to the world that, I just got laid off. But the vMug community was amazing. By the end of the day, I had, people from VMware, Dell, and then all kinds of local leaders reaching out to me saying that they would do whatever they could to help. And because of that, what could have been just a horrible situation turned into a great opportunity. I was out of work for 4 weeks, and then I got offered a job as a director of DevOps as my current position, and that kind of brings us to where we are today. I had a wonderful run as president of vMug. I've got a great job now because of the connections I met through the community. And the big thing I'd want everybody to take away is like, I was never special as far as like the top student. Hey, different kind of special. I was never the top student. I was never like a superstar tech guy. I'm still not. I'm definitely not the best virtualization person around. There are so many super smart people around here. But I just had the dumb luck of when there was an opportunity presented, I just said, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. And I think that's available to everybody today. I mean, there's so much still going on in the virtualization world. There's so many opportunities with vMug. And Steve is doing a great job of showing everybody that anybody can become president if they want to. So with that, I just wanted to thank everybody. I'm Grob Forever on Twitter, bclayton@vmug.com for as long as they let me have that address. BenClayton.tech is a dead website that I keep saying to Ariel that I'll start blogging one of these days, but haven't got to that point yet. Tomorrow, I swear. Give me some tequila and we'll see what I agree to. All right, and that's it. Anybody have any questions? Do I have to pay anybody off for showing up? No? Hey? All right.